everyone, welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And today we're talking about episode 22, The Treasure.
Summary of the episode. Senku, Magma, and Chrome explore a cave for tungsten, which they'll need to make durable filaments for their cell phone vacuum tubes. But Magma has other plans in mind.
That's a pretty good description.
Yeah,
10 out of 10. All right, this is manga chapters 55, The Treasure Dungeon, and 56, The Treasure.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is probably one of my favorite episodes of the season. So,
Yeah, very good character building.
yeah. So let's get into it. Senku and Magma and Chrome are going on a spelunking adventure. Um, Chrome is gonna lead the expedition to the cave to get the tungsten to make their vacuum tube, but everybody else in the village is like kind of concerned about Magma. They're like, is this really a good idea? Like this he might try to kill Senku because he's the village chief, and then we see like Gen whisper something to Magma, but we don't hear what it is. And they're like, well, we're gonna go on our adventure. And they do. And Chrome, while they're in the cave, brings it up to Senku. And Senku, he's like, I'm not gonna worry about Magma because we need his strength to get our tungsten so we can make our cell phone and save the entire village. Um, or save the kingdom of science. And I really liked what he said, where he's like, it's the only choice, so there's no use in worrying if it's the right choice.
Yeah, um,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess.
I wish I could be that way, but
I know.
yeah, they're in the cave and they're making their way to the tungsten, and Senku is kind of leading, and he steps on a brittle rock, which he calls mica. And he's like, it's really dangerous. It can break apart and we can fall into a pit and die. And then we hear a crack and Magma pushes Senku. Um,
Yes. I like in the manga, well you can see it very well in the anime and the manga how the mica is like this layered rock and that's why it cracks so easy. But in the manga Senku compares mica to a layered cake. And then he says, "Well, not that you'd know what that is."
um, and the rock breaks and Magma falls, and tiny Senku tries to save him.
His
He's
eyes are
like,
bugging out of his head.
yeah, he's trying so hard. Um, and Chrome is like, just let go of him, dude. He tried to kill you. And I don't know. I think even the first time we watched this, you could like see on Magma's face like that's wasn't really his intention. He had
No.
something else in mind. But then he actually, I think he's in this moment he's trying to save Senku because he basically is trying to like goad him into letting go of him. Because he's like, yeah, I tried to kill you, and I'm the strongest and should be the village chief, and we need to get rid of you. Um, but Senku is Senku, and he doesn't let go. And instead, he plunges into the pit with Magma. But all is not lost because there's like a pool of water nearby, and Chrome makes a siphon, um, and basically fills the pit that they're in with water. And it's
I like
it
that part because it was like all three of them working together because Senku told Chrome how to make the siphon out of things that they had. Chrome, actually, Chrome initially had the idea, like, I'm just gonna keep pouring water in till you can swim
Mhm.
out. But then Chrome gets the siphon going and the water's pouring in. But poor Senku, he doesn't have much meat on his bones, so he's shivering in that freezing cold water. And Magma and Chrome are like, oh, he's not gonna make it this long. This isn't filling fast enough. So Magma just launches Senku out of the pit, just throws him. And
Yes, and
then
he
Magma swims to
he
the top.
yeah, and Senku lands has an epic landing. He has a very main character landing.
Yeah, I guarantee that's the only time that'll happen to him.
Right? and then they immediately go back to being themselves when they're like sitting around the fire warming up, and Senku's like, "Good thing you got me out of there, because otherwise would have had to uh
Huddle for warmth.
yep, yep." And we see them imagining that, and they're like, "Ugh,
Shoujo
gross."
manga brain. Ooh.
Yeah. Um yes, but after that fun adventure, they make it to they find a skarn deposit, which is nature's treasure chest. And it basically has a bunch of different rocks in it. Give me 1 second. I'm reading about skarn deposits, trying to decide what to share. But basically, I mean, Senku does a good job of explaining it, but skarn deposits are a type of ore deposit formed by metasomatic replacement in carbonate rocks. Um, Usually limestone, or I haven't even heard of this other dolomite.
Hmm.
I've not heard of that.
I think
Um,
how he explained it in the anime was, I think he did say limestone, and he said magma seeps through the Earth's crust and helps form those striations in the rock.
yeah, it's formed by interaction of hot magmatic fluids with skarn with the metamorphic rocks and carbonate rocks. Interesting. And there's multiple types of skarn deposits, but the one that they are interested in is the tungsten skarn. And those are typically associated with granitic rocks. Interesting. I don't know anything about rocks, so
I've
I
been
will
in a couple
leave.
of caves. They're cool,
Mm,
but I would never, I mean, these guys only have their headlamps. I've been in a cave in I think it was in Tennessee, and there's a part of the tour where the guide's like, we're gonna turn off all of the lights. And I
it's
was
so dark.
I think I was about 12-ish years old at the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
just remember thinking, don't do it, because it's like these bulbs that are set up along the cave and they provide a lot of floodlight. Like you can see a lot, but also that cave had some areas where you couldn't tell how deep the cave was. So you look over a ledge and think, oh, that drop's not too far down. And they say, oh no, it's like 70 feet down. And
Mm-hmm.
so when they turn the lights off, I just remember clutching my mom's hand and being like, deep breaths, you're okay. Because I get claustrophobic too. So if I can't
Mm-hmm.
see and I can't feel my way around something, I kind of panic a little bit. But I was just like, this is the scariest thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is like cave darkness is
That's true darkness.
dark. Yeah, I haven't been in too many caves. They're not my favorite either. But I did go oh man, what's the word? Ziplining. I couldn't think of the word. Ziplining in a cave once. And it was fun, but also it's scary because there's really they had some lights, but basically you're like ziplining in darkness. Like you can't see the bottom. And it was fun, but at the same time I was like, I can't see anything. I'm not gonna be going in caves. I'm not going in caves and I'm not climbing mountains.
Oh yeah, the whole Everest thing.
Yeah, we both decided we're not gonna climb Mount Everest. We would mentally we couldn't do it. And if you wanna understand why, Google that yourself.
Yeah, be
Um,
careful though.
yeah. All right. Anyway, back to the cave. So they're gonna get their tungsten, and um, but before they do that, uh Senku basically he tells Magma like, no, he I remember he gives him like a pickaxe, and Magma's like, I'm gonna kill you guys with this or whatever. And Senku's like, no, you're not. I knew you weren't trying to kill me. You were trying to save me. And I also love this moment because like Chrome immediately is like, oh man, I'm sorry that I
Yeah.
misjudged you. Like he's so quick to like admit he was wrong and change his mind. So then tungsten has been acquired. But oh man, I think this is like maybe one of my favorite lines in the show. Um, but I what I wrote here was tungsten acquired, but the most important thing acquired was friendship.
Yeah, we'll get to
And
that
the
line. We'll get to that line
yeah.
later in the episode, but what Chrome says in the manga is, "Hey, I know Tungsten's a swell treasure, but I think the bond the three of us pals formed down in this treasure dungeon is the greatest prize of all."
And Magma and Senku are like so lame.
Yeah, in the next panel in the manga, Senku goes, "Ew, gross. Ew, no." Meg's like, "Whoa, what he said, ew." And then Chrome, to his credit, is all embarrassed. He's like, "I regretted it as soon as it was out of my mouth. I'm so sorry."
Oh man, yeah, we have a hilarious meme to share. It's from if you guys know BuzzFeed Unsolved, the like true crime part of it. Um, they like for one of the episodes they go on a treasure hunt, and at the end they don't find the treasure, and the one guy is like, maybe the treasure was like was the friends we made along the way, and the other guy was like, no, I want my stinking gold. Like it's perfectly like Senku and Chrome, and I think me and Megan just a little bit.
Life is amazing.
Yeah, you're Polites, let's be honest.
Does that mean
Um,
you're Odie?
no, I don't know. I thought I would be Odie or maybe Athena.
Mm. Yeah, I can see Athena. Not
Yeah,
Eurylochus though, because you wouldn't release the wind.
no, I
That would
have
be
more
dumb.
self-control. Yeah, but anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Dang it, I
Um,
die in Act 1. Of course I do.
hey, but you're my best friend at least.
Cool. I'll come back to haunt you.
Exactly. Actually, though.
Anyway, sorry, off track. Back to Dr. Stone.
Yes. And so then they finish up their cave adventure. I don't know, I just love this scene like with we get like Magma is like, "Oh, we gotta go." And then you see like Chrome and Senku like on the rock and I don't know what they're supposed to be. Like they're like look
They're like
like
crawling.
yeah, like starfish or like yeah, like that's what it reminded me of. And he's like grabs them and um we see that we see what Gen said to Magma that they need to get Senku back by like the third night or something. And so they go back to the village and we see Senku is blindfolded and I don't know this part made me kind of sad because he was like, "Oh, you guys finally figured out turning me into Sukusa's like your best option." And he's I don't know. You just see that you see he's like his like lip. I don't know. It doesn't tremble, but like
Kind
it.
of does like a slump, like a
Mm,
disappointed. Yeah, I think in the manga it sheds a little bit more light onto his thought process here because he's remembering Magma's words to him, like, "If only you hadn't shown up, Senku." And you can see, especially in the panel layout, how bad he feels about putting the village in danger.
mm-hmm. That is true because I mean the village did get burned down
Yeah.
because of him and attacked
Well, because
and
he's thinking, yeah, if only I hadn't shown up, they'd be living peacefully. I'm the one who came here and brought all my new science stuff to them, which has made their lives good, but it also puts
mm-hmm.
a target on their back.
And he saved Rory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think none of them would trade
They
that.
wouldn't change. Yeah, they would
Yeah.
never change what he's done. He's also given them insurances for the future and just like the improvements he made to the village aren't just for entertainment or ease of life purposes. They're also for like survival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But anyway, they're not handing him over to Tsukasa. They actually made him a telescope for his birthday, which is January 4th, by the way. And Gen calls it Stone Day.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a little notation in the manga. It says 1-4 can be read as ishi in Japanese, which means stone. That's why it's Stone Day.
hmm, interesting. That just he was so close to crying. I thought he got his eyes got a little watery. Um, he's so touched. Uh, and we see like everybody work together to make him this telescope, and then we see again like how he figured out when his birthday was, and basically Senku, wrote the day he broke out of the stone on a tree by the cave with the miracle fluid. And Gen says that he's been a big fan of Senku since the beginning.
Yeah, in the manga, he says, I was a big fan of yours, dear Senku, and that's more important than any pro-con list. The whole village feels the same way, though I'm sure you're a little grossed out after hearing that. And Senku says, Yep, gonna be sick.
Yep, and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah. All right. One more manga thing. There's a Mecha Senku Q&A. Teach us some of Gen's magic, like the birthday guessing thing. So it says, in the case of Dear Senku's birthday, I simply did the calculations in reverse. But this little trick should even allow amateurs to start guessing birthdays. And it's like this set of squares with numbers in them. So and he says, in which squares do your birth month appear? In which squares do your day of birth appear? And so like there's this method where you can count the squares by knowing little information and like it's kind of hard to explain, but basically it's sort of like it looks like a process of elimination. So it's like a magic trick birthday guessing game, but honestly you're just bluffing your way till figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I guess we don't have any more episode things. Now we just talk about the other fun things that we've been up to. Um, First we finished Catching Fire, and it was excellent. I
Yeah.
can't wait to read the next one. Yeah, it hasn't honestly like it has and hasn't been what I thought it was gonna be, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
the pacing has been different than I thought, but
mm-hmm,
I don't mind that. It's not as predictable as I was fearing it would be.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because like obviously I've heard of some things. Although, like thinking about how huge it was a few years ago, I'm surprised I like don't know every single thing about it. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the same for me in Attack on Titan. Like that thing just blew up and I was still surprised when certain things went
I
down. So
literally told you like every single thing that
you
happened because
did,
I was like, you're never
but
gonna watch it.
you did, but the significance of those events didn't hit me until I had like watched everything leading up to it.
Mm-hmm. True. True. Yeah, I think like sometimes, I mean, I hate getting spoilers, but even if you get a spoiler, you still enjoy it. I don't necessarily find that it retracts from the watching or reading experience.
Yeah, especially if I noticed like I again don't like spoilers just like you said, but I noticed that if I get a spoiler but they just give you a little snippet, it kind of like it piques your interest because then you're like, but how? How does it get to that?
It
So
gets your wheels turning.
yeah, exactly. So that's what's happened to me a few times with Haikyuu. So when we went to see the movie, I knew which team was going to win, but I didn't know how the other team was going to lose. And that's all I'll say
Yeah.
about that. So that was very
Well,
interesting.
I knew who was gonna win for that, and I without it ever being seeing anything about it. It's pretty obvious.
It is.
I mean,
I
it's a show about like the underdog team. Like it would be weird if if they didn't win nationals. I mean, not saying that they will or won't, but like
I do know some things of what's coming later, but not like I said, not everything. So
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Anyway, now when we already kind of started talking about this, but just today, actually, the day that we're recording this, a new saga of the musical epic came out, and it was the Wisdom Saga. Um, I feel like we've talked about epic, right?
We've mentioned it a time or two.
Yeah, it's basically like there's this guy. Oh, his name is like I think it's Jorge Rivera Herans, maybe? That's how you say it. Um,
I'm not trying to pronounce someone's name. I'm gonna butcher.
that's my best attempt. Um, basically he's like has created a musical based on the Odyssey. And it's like split up into sagas. So like the first saga was what was it? Was it
Troy,
Troy saga? Um, and then
the
he's basically like
Cyclops saga or
yeah, he's
whatever.
like gone through the story of Odysseus.
Changing a
And
couple key things to make
yes,
it
he
more
definitely
palatable.
has changed some things. I feel like he's made Odysseus more likable. Um,
Definitely.
but yeah, so the seventh saga came out today, and it was excellent. You should definitely,
Yes.
if you are into musicals and into like
Like
if you
Percy
like
Jackson.
yeah, Percy Jackson, definitely check it out. Um,
Also,
yeah.
fun fact that I found out this morning. So there is a connection to Dr. Stone because the person who plays Apollo in the musical is none other than Brandon McInnes, who is our dear Gen. So it
Hmm.
was fun to hear his voice.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I think I've already listened to it like 5 times today. Oops.
Amateur. Just kidding. No, I've only listened to it three times. I
I
don't
like
know.
okay, so I listened through it tonight and then I was like, oh, I should listen to something else. But I was like, I don't want to. I'm just gonna start it over again. And I did.
That's me listening to white noise. I hit replay so many times on that song, but it's so good.
Yeah, it is. It's
At least I
the
have it
lyrics
memorized
are
now.
yeah. Oh yeah. I've had it memorized for
I
like
really
a solid week or so.
karaoke. We gotta have a karaoke night.
Just me and you though. Nobody would understand.
All of our nerdy songs.
Yeah. They'd be like, this is so lame. Yep.
You're lame.
Okay. Anyway, now let's do our outro.
Yep.
Um, what was your favorite line of the episode?
Mine came from Chrome. Tungsten's an unbelievable treasure, but in this dark, gloomy dungeon full of treasures, we found something more. I'm talking about the precious treasure of friendship.
Oh, I love
He
that
went
line.
all in on that line too.
So good. Like,
I wonder if that's Matt's favorite line that he said.
yeah, no, that one is so good. I think like well, we talked about this when we were prepping for the episode, but like I think the first time we watched it, at least I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And then I was like, "Oh, wait, that's so weird."
I think I think my initial reaction was like he started um when he said we found something more. I thought he was going to stop there. I'm like, what a sweet sentiment. But then he said, I'm talking about the precious treasure of friendship. I'm like, what is this? My Little Pony?
Oh, yep. It's so good. Um,
What was your favorite line, Meg?
mine came from Senku when he and Magma were in the pit, and he says, "It doesn't matter who's calling the shots or who's tougher. The fact is, there are all kinds of people in the world, and true strength come no, and true strength happens when everybody works together."
Yep.
Excellent. Senku is very wise.
Mhm. And now
Okay.
he's even wiser because he's a year older. He's officially 17.
Ooh.
So wise. Can you imagine how
I
OP he's gonna be when he's like 80?
oh my goodness. Yeah, crazy. All right, what did we learn in this episode?
We learned about the power of friendship in classic shonen form.
Yes. I know, I feel like if that line had been said in like another show, you wouldn't even like bat an eyelash. Be like, "Hmm, yep."
That's why I love these types of shows that are like, yes, it's in this category, but also we're gonna subvert a lot of the tropes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then who pushed the story forward in the episode?
Magma for finally joining the Kingdom of Science. And a shout out to Gen for the birthday party.
Mm-hmm. What a guy. That actually reminds me that both Magma and Gen, they're voice actors.
They're
Those
married.
are yeah, those are
Yeah.
two that are married. Yep.
Uh,
All right. Anyway, that's all we've got for the episode. We will be back next week.
yep. See ya.
Bye.